Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Aslan Diashena with student number 6211 to 11089 and from XL class. Today I will make a video about summary about international history of the 20th century. Okay, let's begin. After 1945, European power was in decline. The economic plight of the wartime belligerents, including victors, was increasingly apparent, as was growing realization of the military and economic potential of the US and USSR. Both emerged as superpowers, combining global political ambition with military capabilities that included weapons of mass destruction. War was the atomic bomb, built at enormous cost and driven by fear that Nazi Germany might win the first nuclear arms race. After 1945, nuclear weapons posed unprecedented challenge to world politics and to leaders responsible for conducting post-war diplomacy. The Cold War provided both context and pretext for the growth of nuclear arsenals that threatened the very existence of humankind, and which have continued to spread well after the end of the East and West confrontation. Next is about modern total war. Some suggest that responsibility for the war was diffuse, as its origins lay in the complex dynamics and imperative of the respective alliances. War. The German aggression, motivated by internal political needs of an autocratic elite, was responsible for the war. Russia alliance with Serbia and Germany alliance with Austria and Hungary then became catalyst for European-wide conflict. Germany feared war on two fronts against France and Russia, and so attacked France in search of a spear of victory. This not only failed, but British treaty obligation to as they march off to a fight most thought war would be short, victorious, and in many cases glorious. The reality of the European battlefield quickly proved otherwise. Defensive military technologies, civilized by the machine gun and trench warfare, triumph over the tactics and strategy of attrition. United States entered the war in 1917 under President Germany no longer fought on two fronts, but faced a new threat as America mobilized. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 promised a new framework for European security and a new international order. There was a crucial difference among the victorious power over policies toward Germany and over principle governing the international order. So the conclusion is, the changes that took place in 20th century for world politics were enormous. Assessing their significance raises many complex issues about the nature of international history and international relations. This conclusion emphasizes several points about the relationship between total war, the end of empire, and Cold War. The rise of Nazi Germany brought global conflagration and new methods of fighting and killing. The scale of carnage and suffering was unprecedented. One consequence was the creation of Israel, which set in motion conflicts that continue to have global repercussions today. The period since 1945 witnessed the end of the European empires constructed before, and in the early part of the 20th century, and saw the rise and fall in the Cold War. The relationship between the end of empire and Cold War conflict in the Third World was close, though complex one. In some cases, involvement of the superpowers helped bring change. So that's all from me. Thank you for your all attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.